Cindric is the Xfinity Series champion.
How about that, guys?
The guys that I'm racing against all want what I have.
You're the champion for a reason, and you're the champion until somebody beats you.
Austin Cindric Hames, the monster.
I can't be comfortable with my situation. You see guys running over each other 15 laps into a race because they want it so bad.
The competition level is tough. If you're off just a little bit, you're running sixth versus leading the race.
You can't really hide. Everyone is on the hot seat, and you have to find a way to get all the small details right.
He will leave Atlanta Motor Speedway with the playoff spot.
I've wanted to win this place for a long, big time.
Every single lap is almost like qualifying. You got to be on top of it from the drop of the rag.
And we're about to drop the rag in the NASCAR Xfinity Series from Atlanta. It's the Credit Karma Money 250. Field working their way around this mile-and-a-half track. Let's take a look at the starting grid for today's race. Kyle Busch, it's been said this could be his very last Xfinity Series race ever. He's looking to make it 5 straight wins in a row. He'll start beside Daniel Hamrick in row 1.
Here's the awesome Dillon, who will be going to the rear of the field. Row 6, Jeb Burton, Brandon Brown, a couple of Virginia boys.
A little further back in here, you talk about guys from the same state. I mean, you got Jake Buford, Josh Berry. They're from Tennessee, Nashville and Hendersonville. Ronnie Bassett Jr., Todd Dillon, both from North Carolina. Winston-Salem, and welcome.
There, Gray Galding in the 52, Jimmy Means entry in row 20.
And that's the starting grid brought to you by Credit Karma Money. All right, Steve, let's talk a little bit about numbers in this racetrack.
Hey, Harrison, it's all the booth guys for NBC. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, buddy. You've shown amazing success at this track early in your career. Describe the challenges and what's the next step to go to victory lane?
Well, the challenges is the balance swings here are massive. You'll go from tight to loose in a matter of laps. So staying in front of that and doing the best job you can, relaying that information to the crew chief is challenging. You know, as long as you do your job and not spin out and wreck, that's the biggest challenge. Is try and stay in this race and give the best feedback you can, for sure.
All right, so your teammate has to be the favorite. How do you look at that? As a challenge, as a kind of feather in the cap of Joe Gibbs Racing? How do you beat your teammate today, Kyle Busch?
Just have to be perfect. You know, that's the level he brings, so we have to match that. It would be an awesome opportunity for us to go try and beat the best there is. So, you know, I think really highly of Kyle as a driver, and time to go try and beat him.
All right, man. Well, good luck today. Great paint scheme you have there with the offer pad. We love the in-car cameras, and I know it was completely your idea for that awesome-looking hood on that car.
You said that with jest, I'm sure. The field coming down pit road right now, as you see the picture of Harrison that's right on the hood of that offer pad hood. And we will throw it back down to pit road because Dave's down there. Dave?
I just love that no response from Harrison. He's focused now going down pit road. Hey, for Jeremy Clements, there have been a string of solid runs that once again has him in position for the playoffs, but he is on the bubble, 12th out of 12. And mechanical failure last week at Road America, he finished 28th, even though he was still running at the end. Here's the problem. Atlanta has not been good to him. He's never had a top 10 finish. Dillon, he needs to run well today to maintain that position or gain on that bubble.
And Dave, as Junior said, it's Austin Dillon behind the wheel of the one car this afternoon. I understand it's a leg injury that has been re-agitated. He's been working with NASCAR Orthopedics, but Michael has decided to sit out today. It's the same ailment that sidelined him from the truck race last night, hence the driver change there too. So during our countdown to green show, the team was adjusting the seat mold, making sure Austin was fitted in the car. Everything he needs to be comfortable today was set to his liking, but he even had to ask how to get the car started. That's how quickly this has all come together. So we obviously send our best to Michael, and again, Austin Dillon behind the wheel of the one this afternoon, Marty.
Dillon, for years, Kyle Busch has said when he got to 100 Xfinity Series wins, he would call it quits. Then this morning, he sent this tweet out on the way down to Atlanta, contemplating all the years of Xfinity Series racing, 100 wins. He actually has 101. Let's go get one more. And because of that, I asked Kyle before the race, is this indeed your last Xfinity Series race? He said, it is. He said, you know, you never want to say never unless something comes up. I expect this to be my final Xfinity Series race ever. So sitting at 101 wins, can he go out with 102 and finish the season undefeated? We'll get to ride on board the Toyota onboard camera with Kyle Busch in what is very likely, Rick, his final ever Xfinity Series race.
Well, he's won 36 times on mile-and-a-half tracks. 2 of them have come at this racetrack. And Rutt, there's been a lot of changes that have taken place to this racetrack.
There sure have, Rick. You know, they broke ground in 58, started racing here in 60. You've had huge names like Tim Flock, Rex White, of course, the Elliott's race here, but the front stretch was the back stretch. The back stretch was the front stretch. So all the changes they announced this week were really par for the course here at Atlanta, but it's not just names that were made on the track. The fans have always loved this place. The old Weaver Grandstands, people talked about you'd have to fight your way out of that party. Legendary fan names like Brandman, Wooljohn, Josh Doty, even Beetle, the beer funnel guy. This place has always been home to the fans, and hopefully some great racing for us today, Rick.
Thanks, Rutt. And Junior, I know you've had some fun at this racetrack. This is one of those tracks that when everybody talks about repaving, you're like, no, it's character. That's a lot of character. Talk to us a little bit about this track.
Yeah, she's an old bumpy place and a lot of fun for the drivers. They love running here, but 163 laps, 40 laps for stage 1 and 2, 83 laps in that final stage. The fuel window, 50 to 40, 50 to 55 laps, and that'll come into play possibly in that final stage. Pit road speed, 45 mile an hour.
There is a competition caution that will happen on lap 20, and I know a lot of people are talking about, well, these are the first laps that are going to be run on here, so could wear those tires out even before they get to lap 20.
It will. You know, it reminded me when we come to test here, man, the tires would only last about 10 to 15 laps, so these guys have to be careful. I will be shocked if anybody tries to make the full stage on that first set of tires.
86 degrees. Humidity just 57%. The track temperature 136 degrees. The 54 on the inside. Kyle Busch maybe making his final start ever in the Xfinity Series. Daniel Hamrick on the outside.
Cindric looking high here, 3 wide on Hamrick.
Hamrick, as he's falling back, A.J. Allmendinger taking advantage of it. So is Harrison Burton.
Hamrick did not get a good launch at all. Just did not get rolling on that initial start.
See a little bit of dust off these cars. Again, this track's green, no laps on it, so you're going to see tons of dirt and dust, debris flying up in the air. Rooster tails off the back of these cars as they try clean the track for the most part.
Wide open for the 54. Kyle Busch is going to lead the first lap here at Atlanta. Junior, you mentioned a bumpy racetrack. 1 and 2, a lot of bumps down there that they got to negotiate around.
Yeah, the bumps are the worst right on the bottom groove of the racetrack, and they're at both ends. Down here in turns 3 and 4, it's kind of like riding a jet ski. They're waves. The car just kind of hops all the way through the corner, mainly bouncing on the left front tire. The bumps into turn 1 are much worse. You drive off in to turn 1, the car lands really, really hard down at the bottom of the racetrack. And then it's extremely rough. You're trying to keep that left front tire right on that green line. There's a little bit of extra grip on the paint, but it is really rough. Jerking the steering wheel around in your hands, pretty hard to keep the car connected to that bottom.
Well, Junior, this is one of those racetracks that, unlike a high grip mile and a half where running the top may save your tires, really up on the top all by yourself, like you see the 7 of Justin Allgaier, that can actually be worse on your tires. You got to be really careful not to eat them off right at the start of this race.
Yeah, that bottom groove is used so much. It's a bit more polished, a bit less abrasive. And as the rubber gets put down on that most often used groove, it becomes better for wear. You can go up top. There's more grip. There's maybe more speed, but how long will it last? You see the 51 car, Jeremy Clements, showing you that. Running that high line, creating more speed, but how much life are you taking off of your tires doing that?
Because of the driver change, the one of which normally driven by Michael Annett has Austin Dillon behind the wheel. Let's listen into the radio at the start of this race.
What's my spotter and crew chief's name today? Spotter's Jason. You got Bumpy down here as crew chief. You got Jason Jarrett up top there, Austin. Hey, just keep me posted there. What you need, man. We'll help you get fixed out whatever you need here. But
how's that communication for you? What are the guys who are get my eyes in the air and who's going to make all the calls on the pit box today?
Yeah, not only is the cockpit of the car unfamiliar, didn't really know how to start the car, which switches or what. Also coming down pit road, you don't know the pit sign. So if we do have a pit stop that's critical for this team, trying to understand where you are on pit road and what your pit signs and all that looks like, it's going to be tough for Austin.
Jeremy Clements making the high line work there in the 51. Dave.
Guys, just checking in with that orange and black 18 of Daniel Hamrick. You can tell he's raced for a long time, been in the Cup Series, been in the Xfinity Series, because he didn't say a thing after that start of the race. No word from the driver on anything wrong with the car, just did not nail it, and the spotter's been coaching him through ever since. The best thing he heard was that turn 3, clear low. He got to the bottom of the racetrack and is trying to recover now in the 18.
And that's interesting. Dave used the word recover. We've heard from drivers like Kevin Harvick say it's difficult to get positions back if you make a mistake here at this track.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so slick, hard to get the power down. And you see the gap that the guys are able to put between each other. I mean, you got to run a guy down, then try to get around him. It takes a lot of time, a lot of great laps.
Brandon Jones is making it happen here in the 19 as he goes by Jeb Burton. Here comes Allgaier as well. Marty.
Justin Allgaier trying to patiently make his way through the field right now, sitting in the 10th spot after losing a few spots early in the race. Rick, Jeff, I'd love to get your take on this. When I talked to Justin, kind of the key for him winning here, he said it was just taking it easy on my car early in a run, and especially the tires. He was so good in the second half of a run here in March. So how does a driver at a tough racetrack like this take it easy on the car and the tires early in a run?
Yeah, you just stay out of that high groove, to be honest with you, and that's where I love to go, and that's where Justin's at right now. But that's going to eat your tires up when you run higher on the racetrack early before any rubber gets put down. It's so fun, creates a lot of speed, makes you look like a hero, but on the back end of the run, you're really going to suffer. You're not going to have the grip and the speed that these other cars are around you. And it makes me think that these guys plan on changing tires at the competition yellow. Some guys we thought had stretched the first set of tires to lap 40 last year and earlier this year, but without a truck race or any kind of rubber on the racetrack, I don't know if they'll be able to make that happen.
Saw the 51 get all the way up to 6th after starting in the 19th position. And how about the 10th inside these cars? 118, almost 119 degrees now. Your race day companion is NASCAR Drive. You can follow your favorite drivers with high-definition in-car cameras, or you can select alternate camera angles to see more action. Visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app today.
Rick, we talked about the high tire wear at this racetrack, and guys maybe trying to save a set of tires for later in the race. They'd love to have a set laying in the pits for a final few laps or a run to the green. Marty, what are you hearing down on pit road?
Well, Junior, you've been here and tested before when the track was green, and you know what happens to that right front 10, 12 laps into a run. It cords almost immediately when there's no rubber down on this racetrack. Talking to a lot of crew chiefs, even though there was no race here before the Xfinity Series race this weekend, they were saying they did not want to pit at the last 20 cop caution. Yes, they wanted that extra set of tires for later in the race, but I don't know, Junior, with so many drivers running high on the racetrack this early in the race, I would want to take that cop caution, put on a new set of Goodyears, and just check out the wear. What would you think behind the wheel?
Yeah, I'd have to be trying to fill my crew chief with as much information about what the car feels like and what I think the tires may be doing. Latard, what is it that you can do from the top of the pit box to understand where the tire wear is going early in this run?
Well, the first thing we would have done is had a conversation at the start, because I would have needed about 70 or 80% pace right here, not pushing your car very hard. I believe the best chance to win this race is to not pit at lap 20. Now, unfortunately, there's not much I can do. As long as we don't have a completely ill-handling car, and as long as the driver, we're watching Harrison Burton right here do some work underneath the 11 of Justin Haley, you know, I would want you to know, Junior, that, hey, man, I don't want to change tires. Our goal is to just get this first set of tires to lap 40. Kind of go as easy as you need, as silly as that sounds. You got to have that set for a late yellow.
As we're watching Harrison Burton and his face on the hood of that car, when we talked to him earlier this week, he said, you know, when we went in for the photo shoot on this, he said, kind of channel your Step Brothers movie in this photo shoot. And he's like, well, okay, I guess we'll do it. And so he's got a little ribbing from that.
Hey, and Rick, and on that conversation we were just having, which was terrific as the cop caution's coming up here in 3 laps, Steve, you notice Kyle Busch hasn't moved an inch off the bottom of the racetrack. I would assume if you're Chris Gale, you probably feel a little bit better about that. There's Kyle right on the bottom of 1 and 2. When you're low on the racetrack, that takes care of that right front a little bit more.
And when you got to a 1-second lead, he has not gone any harder. I believe he came out to a manageable lead, and Chris Gale and Kyle Busch have a plan here. You know, the biggest way you're going to lose this race is to have a tire come apart. So you need to make sure you take care of those tires. And I think a lot of this right here, Jeff, is kind of some give and take with these top 5 or 6 cars. Who dares go the hardest?
I think so. I mean, the last race here, almost no one stopped at this competition caution. I think that's the strategy today. And why push it right now if you're trying to save tires? This track is like nowhere else we go anymore. It just absolutely destroys tires, and you have to manage this, and I think that's what we're seeing. Look at, see right there, Brandon Jones sideways underneath Austin Cindric. That's just eating life off those tires. Anytime you slip that tire, it hurts it.
There's your competition yellow.
All right, so now you're saying if you want to win the race, you shouldn't come to pit road.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'd be willing to take the risk as a driver and a crew chief to stay out here and have that extra set of tires laying in the pits. You might get lapped in these next few laps to the run to the finish of stage 1. It's possible, but if you can stay on the lead lap, you got an extra set of tires. That is way too valuable for a late race caution. If you got tires and nobody else does at a place like this, you're going to win the race.
Some teams on pit road are looking as though they're getting ready for their drivers to bring it down. Our team got a little bit bigger this weekend, and we are so thankful that Folds of Honor came and joined us as a part of our family, our NBC Sports family here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. 3 different families have been able to enjoy the behind-the-scenes look at what we do in the television world, and we've been able to enjoy their company and thank them for what they've done for our country. And so again, we want to thank all of those that are here with us and all those military personnel. Thank you once again for what you do, and again thank our family here from Folds of Honor for joining us.
How incredible it was to have those guys with us today, spend some time with them, the real heroes of our country. Get a chance to spend time with them is an honor.
Well, as they roll down the backstretch behind the pace car, pit road will be open. It's kind of decision time, and I don't see a lot of activity on pit road. The one thing I would say is when you look at the point standings, right, you had this conversation, Jeff, you and I had it in the pre-race show, Jeremy Clements, Brandon Brown, Herbst back in 14th. If you're trying to gain some points, you know, if Herbst in 14th in points, 43 points out of the playoffs, if he came and got a set of tires right here, he's almost assured to gain some stage points. So it might hurt his overall finish of the race, but you see currently 54 points out the way they run. Maybe he could take a little bit of a gamble. Remember, Annette's not in that one car, so driver points, he's not going to receive any today because he didn't start the one, so it's a way to maybe gain a little. As we see right here, it looks like Cindric is the first car on pit road. We'll see if it's for tires or just adjustments. Not too many takers. Nice and calm on pit road. Marty.
Steve, you've done this a time or two, haven't you? Austin Cindric coming down. There will be no tires taken on the stop, just some fairly significant adjustments. They really feel like Atlanta's been one of those racetracks where they have really struggled, and yes, that was 3 rounds down on the track bar. Car way too free for Austin Cindric. They brought a different setup today, obviously not quite to his liking. Said on lap 3 he was spinning the tires off the corner, so no tires here, just adjustments only for Austin Cindric.
It looks to me like the gentleman reaching under the hood of the 22 right there at the top of your screen. He looked at the splitter, reaches in there. I bet he's going to come out with a little Packer shim in his hands, lowering that car in the corners, Rick.
You're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Credit Karma Money, $250 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. And all right, guys, the choose cone coming into play here.
Yeah, well, it's really big here because typically the outside line does not accelerate well at all. So Justin Haley was running in 5th. The 18 car that was in 7th. They chose the outside, went all the way to the 1st and 2nd rows because most people, look at Noah Gragson. He could have been on the outside. Harrison Burton could have been on the outside at the front row. They chose not to because normally this outside line does not get rolling at all.
We'll see as they come through the restart zone. 54 of Kyle Busch has been the only one up front since the drop of the green flag.
And it's a replay of the initial start where, just like Burton said, that outside line doesn't go. That's the 11 car. He was the control car, the lead car on the outside line, fading backwards.
And Hamrick's taking advantage of that. What a run he has in the 18. Yeah, he got all the way up to 4th.
He got a big run. Harrison Burton went to the bottom, said, I'm going to block the bottom. You're going to have to go around me on the outside. I do not want to give that bottom line up. Here comes Brandon Jones trying to get on the outside.
That outside line's difficult on new tires, almost impossible to be able to accelerate with the control car on 20-lap tires.
And it's one of those mysteries. Like, it doesn't make sense. Why does that outside line not get going on a restart? Never understood it, but it's such a challenge here.
I've just accepted it. The mystery is now just fact in my brain.
The rear tires just want to spin. I mean, you just can't get the car to hook up and go. You're sitting still, spinning your tires. Everybody around you is moving forward.
And nothing looks different on the track. It looks like exactly the same as the bottom, but it just won't work.
Hamrick's using that high line. Brandon Jones in the 19 also up there using that high line as Noah Gregson slides in between the two.
And it gives Hamrick a big run down the back straight. Question is he hurting his tires running up there?
Almost a move out of the way there from Myatt Snyder in the 2. Getting right up on the back bumper of Sam Mayer in the 8.
Around 3 wide almost. Right here, 3 wide going down into turn 1. This is pretty tight. Riley in the 98 has a really shallow entry. It's going to be hard to make that work.
Pretty good run by Alex LeBay in the 36. We saw him on pit road. Believe he has fresh tires, so those fresher tires paying off right now early in this run.
Yeah, he should drive right up to the top 10, top 5. Getting some stage points here for that team. Dave.
Checking in on the 98, you just saw him get past on the bottom of the screen there, the black car of Riley Herbst. His car was super free. He was reminded early on by crew chief Richard Boswell, we had a problem on the short run here at the last race at Atlanta, so expect that. But the car was just too free. They really considered coming down pit road. They just didn't want to give up the track position at this point, but it's in a bad spot right now. They'll make some changes at the break.
See Austin Dillon in that one car was kind of slow as far as working his way through the field at the start. Maybe uncomfortable in the seat. Maybe saving a little bit of tire. Seems to be working forward here now. Dillon.
That's funny, Junior, just looking at Austin Dillon again as he continues to march forward here up inside the top 20 now. He wanted to come down pit road that last, or under the competition caution. Couldn't believe they weren't going to come down and take tires. Crew had to remind him we don't have tires that are disposal like we do in the Cup Series. So just another reminder that, hey, things are a little different over here, and it's taking Austin a little bit of time to adjust. But one thing he's adjusted to quickly is getting behind the wheel and driving forward, because he's been on the move. And car's pretty good. He's pretty happy with it for the most part.
And guys, that's one thing that if you don't prepare for the race, right? If you're an Xfinity driver or if you're a Cup driver going back to an Xfinity race and you know you're going to do it, you went back and watched races, you studied, you paid attention. He didn't even know the name of his crew chief and his spotter, right? So how could he be prepared for this race? He didn't understand the strategy at all because it was a last-minute driver change.
I've heard a lot of questions, Junior, on the radio, but what's the crew chief and spotter name? That is first, I believe.
Who am I talking to?
When you say last minute, it's no joke. Like the team called me in the booth about 20 minutes before airtime and said, "Hey, we need somebody to drive this car." And so it was very last minute, and a lot of scrambling around to seeing who's available. All the Cup guys typically don't travel in till the morning of the race, so not a lot of guys here to get the job done.
Junior, I think what they were asking was, did you bring your uniform?
Right, that's exactly right.
I think
like,
that
hey,
was
man.
Hey, I'm going to promise you, if the helmet and the Hans was in the truck, I would have been down there doing it.
Oh, put the helmet and the Hans in the truck.
Dang right.
Load her up.
Marty.
Guess what's going to be on the truck next week? The helmet and the Hans for Dale Jr., just in case something happens, right? Hey, talking about Brandon Jones, I talked to him before the race. Right now, sitting in the 6th position, he said, I'm going to have to talk myself into not going to the top too early. Well, Steve, you know drivers, they can say it before the race, but they can't make it happen sometimes in the race. Brandon was up top on lap 2, so if you're Brandon Jones' crew chief, are you a little bit worried here? We talked about that tire where 8 laps to go in the stage. Are you a little bit anxious since he's been running the top the entire time?
Absolutely, I'm anxious. I'll go one further. Dale Jr. and I would have this conversation, and Dale used to tell me, do not let me be the first. Here, Dover, Miami, you love to go up there, and you would do it for like one corner, and I'd be like, hey, buddy, you're the only one up there. And I can hear in your voice, oh, really? I don't want to run the bottom. I want to go to the top. It's so much fun. But, I mean, you see it. I mean, they're literally laying tire tracks on their own up there.
Yeah, right here's a car that starting to struggle a little bit late in this run. Jeb Burton falling all the way back to 26th place. He's got a gaggle of cars behind him. But it looks like Jeb's got to use the good off of those tires, watching him run the high side early in that first 20 laps, I think it's starting to cost him and a few other cars out there. Harrison Burton moving in on A.J. Allmendinger, Dave.
And remember what he told you guys in the booth before the race started. That other car up there, of course, is Kyle Busch, the leader. What do you have to do to beat him? You have to be perfect. And right now, as we watch this bunch of cars here, Harrison told his crew the car is not perfect right now. He said it's just a little bit on the free side if he hits the line on the bottom of the track. If not, the car won't turn. So to get perfection, they're going to have to make adjustments coming up in just a few laps.
Yeah, Dave, someone else that needs a big adjustment. We saw Austin Cindric and his team on pit road working on the car, but they are extremely, they got a big problem right now. Austin Cindric is struggling big time. Let's hear what they're talking about.
Like over-traveled or what? No, sir, we're not over-traveled. No longer full throttle on any straightaway. Copy. We're going to do some big changes at the stage break.
Yes, he did say I cannot go full throttle on any straightaway at Atlanta. Yeah, he is struggling. And remember, they brought a different setup. They felt like this was really their weak spot when it came to mile-and-a-half tracks, and they needed to bring something drastically different. Well, the drastically different has not worked in stage one for Austin Cindric, who after the changes and pitting at lap 22 is sitting in 31st, struggling for speed out of that 22.
That right there should tell you just how slick this place is. At a mile and a half, he cannot go full throttle on a straightaway without spinning the rear tires.
And tire wear definitely coming into play. Right now, Kyle Busch, the fastest that last lap, he's still over 3 seconds slower than his fastest lap, which was lap 2 of this race. So 3 seconds fall off per lap.
Let's jump on board with Harrison Burton. He's in the 3rd position, just a few cars behind his teammate Kyle Busch. And just see what makes this so difficult. We heard about the bumps down here in 1 and 2, right around the bottom. Jeff Gordon always told me that the paint, the actual paint in 3 and 4, if he misses that with his left front tire, that was 2 or 3 tenths of a second. I assume the same in Xfinity, Jeff. You want to put the left front tire literally on the paint, it has more grip.
Yeah, no question about it. You see Harrison with this offer pad cam. He's got his left front right on that green, but the problem is A.J. Allmendinger does too, right? So A.J. knows that. A.J. knows Harrison wants to be on that paint. I want to be on that paint. Harrison's gotten to A.J. multiple times, but had the air taken off of him, and now A.J.'s gotten back away from him. And that's the game here, is just try to take that air away. Make that guy go to the top. Make him change lanes.
Great to see OfferPad joining the NASCAR family here as a sponsor, and great for Harrison Burton to have a little sense of humor as we look out the roof cam, and he's basically staring back upside down from the hood. I saw the social campaign, him and Denny Hamlin. I asked Harrison, I said, was it awkward to do all that stuff with Denny? He goes, well, you know, we were teammates, but it was a bit awkward to take all of these pictures.
So here you see his teammates caught him with that battle with Allmendinger. It slowed Harrison down. Now coming on the white flag of this end of the stage, you see Hamrick, he's going to jump to the outside and try to get a big run down this back straightaway. Listen to the throttle in Harrison's car. Here comes Hamrick on the outside.
That top just has so much grip, was able to get in the gas so much earlier.
Fight for position, fight for playoff points. 2 drivers that still have not locked themselves in. This will be the 3rd stage win of the season for Kyle Busch as he gets the win of stage 1, continuing his winning ways. The 4 previous races he has won. Marty.
Boy, and Justin Allgaier, you see him slowing down, coming to the line. He said he was taking it easy because he knew the right front was unraveling. Steve, that's what you're worried about, tires having issues. Justin Allgaier being able to lip it home here at the end of stage 1. When we come back, pit stops, we'll get a look at those Goodyear tires as well as stage 1 wraps up with Kyle Busch winning.
some big problems.
The Credit Karma Money 250 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series from here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And earlier today in the pace car, Cam McAdoo was behind the wheel. He led the drivers to the green. And take a look at this. This was earlier this year. Oh my goodness. Supercross driver, how tough is this guy? Actually ended up third in the main after all that happened. So pretty tough, and we appreciate him being here in the pace car for the start of this race. Man, those guys are tough and crazy. Tough and crazy. So the end of stage one has Kyle Busch winning. Now, I'm sure they're going to want to get to pit road as quickly as possible to get some fresh tires on these race cars. Dillon?
A.J. Allmendinger will peel off from the second spot. Said to me earlier today, hey, we're not going to rest on our laurels despite how good we were here in the summer race last year. This is a completely different ball game, but pretty happy with their race car right now. A little tight on the bottom, but really, really pleased with their drive off in the bottom groove. 4 tires and fuel and air pressure adjustment for Allmendinger, Dave.
Third place, Harrison Burton needs a little more turn. Please don't take the rear out of the track. Air pressure adjustment is good. Your tires, Marty. Oh, he gets off the jack a little early. I don't know about that.
Dave, we got a peek inside Kyle Busch's office as he was coming to pit road. 120 degrees for the drivers here. Kyle said the only time I really lost time was when I missed my marks in turns 3 and 4. Bit of a rough stop for the 54 bunch. Kyle Busch, who's led every lap, Rick, you see it right there, loses 4 spots.
And how big is it losing that lead? It will be huge for Kyle Busch to see if he can battle back to the front. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Visit GoCreditOne.com. Ford, built Ford proud. And by Credit Karma Money, a rewarding way to spend and save. Rutledge, you've got a pretty good vantage point of this racetrack.
Rick, I sure do. I'm so glad that this week Dale Jr. said, hey, you should go to the condos. He made some calls, and look at us now. We are on the penthouse right here above turn 4. We made some new friends, but I want to show you guys not only these amazing people, but Tony, come check out the view. This is what we get to see up here, guys. You really can see Harrison really nice when he's coming out of 4 there with his face on the hood. But guys, amazing. We couldn't have a better day for racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Perfect weather, breeze is blowing. I wish y'all could join me over here.
I'm afraid of heights, so I'm definitely not going to be joining you up there.
You're not afraid of a party, though.
That's a good point. Marty, what happened with that tire?
Well, we talked about Justin Allgaier saying he felt like something was wrong with the tire, I would say. So this starting to unwind here in the middle of it. The rubber literally coming off the tire, down to the fabric there, down all the way to the cords right there. So, Steve, that's kind of the worst nightmare as a crew chief seeing that. So Allgaier correctly diagnosed it, limped his way, gave up stage points because he knew that right front was going bad.
Yeah, now if you're Justin Allgaier and Jason Burdett, you hope that is an issue that will be cured by rubber going on the racetrack. But when you look up and down pit road, you guys were reporting, Marty, there was a couple tires that didn't look great, but his was the worst. We'll have to keep an eye if this guy Jason Burdett makes the right adjustments, try to keep that right front tire on it as the race continues.
And a mistake on pit road, the 22 team over the wall too soon, so Austin Cindric starts in the back. Getting ready for the restart, Harrison Burton on the inside, Noah Gragson on the outside.
A little bit better for that outside line on this start. Still, though, that inside has the momentum down into turn 1. The Gibbs cars teamed up. Noah, though, got a great run here. Here he comes to the outside.
Huge run by Noah Gragson, trying to take the lead as they go down the backstretch.
He's going to get a huge push by the 54 of Kyle Busch right here. He should clear him. 54 goes up to the 3rd lane.
Yeah, Kyle's going to use the momentum off the top. Let's see if he can do anything with it on this front straightaway. Oh, he gets a little bit tight on corner exit.
It's so interesting. 3 and 4 normally does not have the grip on the top that 1 and 2 does.
Yeah, the car doesn't want to turn on the exit of the corner there.
So watch the difference over here. Off of 2, you'll see Kyle Busch get a big run on corner exit. Harrison going to go up and block him. Kyle's going to say, I'm going to take it.
Man, and that's so frustrating when you see that driver who's going to drift up the racetrack in front of you, and he knows you got a massive run. He knows you're coming, and he throws that block anyway.
I tell you what else, Junior, I think it's hard is how slow you were going at the end of that run. Now you got new tires on. Now you got to go find the pace of the car with new tires.
3 wide right here. Pretty sketchy for these guys getting down into turn 1.
Looking good for that 0-2 of Brett Moffitt right there in 5th.
Yeah, they sorted out. Brett, we got a new crew chief on this car today. Battle for the lead. Kyle Busch back to the outside here in 3 and 4. He's going to run a little bit lower. Noah gets into the apron just a second. Upsets that car somewhat.
Harrison Burton following in the tracks of Kyle Busch. Harrison's told us, I love when Kyle Busch is in the race. I can learn so much from him. He's one of the best, if not the best, that's ever raced in the Xfinity Series.
I can understand exactly what he means. When I ran in the Xfinity Series with Mark Martin, you knew you might lose the race that day when he was out there, but you were going to learn something. Every time we went on the racetrack in practice, we tried to follow Mark, see what he was doing. Learned so much racing him. These young guys love that opportunity to learn and compare themselves, compare their skills to Kyle Busch.
And typically also, Junior, those older guys that are Cup guys, if you're an Xfinity guy, you want to ask them a question, they'll talk to you. Like, they'll help you. They're not going to give you all the secrets, but they'll give you enough.
Oh, get a car in the wall here.
Yeah, David Starr puts that car into the wall. Let's see, caution does come out.
Looks like he had an issue. Looks like there's air in the tire. So not a flat tire sending
Yeah,
him
I'll come look at it here. Yep, yeah, it looks like it's stored pretty good there.
David Starr, a
Yeah, got
staple
the right front hard. We can look at it though.
in the Truck Series for many, many years. And now running here in the Xfinity Series in that 61 car. And bringing out the caution. It's the 3rd caution of the day. And David Starr will take that to the attention of his crew.
Yeah, looking like David and another car might have got together off of turn 4. So David is in the bottom groove, but drifting up the racetrack. Leave that car on the outside. That's going to come into play here as they come on the corner exit. David's just not quite clear. And up the racetrack, gets turned into the fence. Takes both cars into the wall for a brief moment. That's going to do damage to the 61 car. I believe they're going to have to put it behind the wall.
What about Matt Mills here? I mean, that's his spot, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a spotter. The spotter needs to be telling David that he's got a car looking on the outside and that David needs to, you know, not use the throttle and open up the wheel and corner exiting and give that car some room, especially back here in the pack. I'm sure Dave is trying to do that, but maybe didn't get that information.
It's almost like he knew there was a car on the inside, you know, had no idea there was a car on the outside.
Something else to consider, look at this in real speed. You can see David, there's a car underneath him right there, right? So he's taking all the air off of David's car. Also, David's car is going up the racetrack. So he almost needed to give up a lot sooner. As soon as that car was underneath him, the air was off of him, needed to be all the way out of the throttle at that point.
These are the type of accidents that just concern me as the day goes, Rick, because, I mean, you saw the tire on the 7 car. You don't know what kind of damage it is, and even wrecked 160, 170 miles an hour around here.
So next week on Saturday, the Xfinity Series heads to New Hampshire, and that race coverage on NBCSN beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern. Then it will be the Olympics on NBC and the NBC family. And at the beginning of August, there's going to be a couple great races. Here's some stars to tell you about one of them.
I can't walk the streets of Nashville without thinking of legends like Johnny Cash, Loretta Lynn,
Mario Andretti. Hello, Cheryl Crow.
Mario, what are you doing here?
Cheryl, haven't you heard IndyCar is coming to the streets of Nashville?
Mario, that is music to my ears.
Mine too.
Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, August 8th on NBCSN.
Gonna get loud.
Mario, I love loud.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, that's a part of the doubleheader with NASCAR. The Cup Series will be at Watkins Glen. They're going to be racing at Nashville over that Korean War Veterans Memorial Bridge. I can't wait to see these guys racing over Cumberland River.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that was the planned route when they came up with the layout of this racetrack. Cars racing over that is going to be quite an image and quite exciting for the city of Nashville. So looking forward to seeing how that race is going to play out. I'm sure it's going to be fun. A lot of people are going to come into town to see that one.
So on pit road a little while ago, I thought big calamity was getting ready to happen. David Starr going to the garage, 17. Carson Ware, he had no idea that he was going to make a left. And that was near a collision on pit road.
Thankfully, Carson was able to get through without any damage as we get ready for the restart here. This time it'll be Kyle Busch and Noah Gragson. Noah Gregson's going to be behind Kyle for this restart. Dave.
Rick, years from now, if Tucker Scanlon is an Xfinity Series champion crew chief, today will be the day that he crew chiefed his first race for Brett Moffitt in the 02. However, that's not the whole story. You see, Tucker can afford to get penalized for a couple of loose lug nuts and maybe miss a race. The guy who cannot is the guy actually making the calls today on top of the pit box. That's Bono Mannion. Bono Mannion runs the Truck Series truck for Zane Smith. He was in Knoxville last night, so Bono's making the calls, but if there was anything at the end of the race that might be against the rules, Bono can't afford to get fired, or not fired, suspended. You know what I mean?
Or fired.
Yeah, or fired. Look at Tucker, all smiles.
Just be careful, because I can attest NASCAR can throw out whoever they want. We'll call that just by chance. I know that.
Back underway, Hamrick starting on the outside this time. We've seen him fall back after the start of the race. He fell back, and again, that outside line doesn't have the momentum.
And again, that guy that was on the front of that outside line gets put 3 wide into turn 1. He's going to fight it off this particular time. Wow.
Trying to hang on to third.
Looked like the 7 of Allgaier and the 16 of A.J. Allmendinger might have gotten together a little bit there on the back straightaway. If they didn't, it was close.
Twice we've seen on restarts, though, although it didn't get the lead, it picked up a position by picking that top lane because of the grip in turns 1 and 2. Not on the launch, but through the corner.
Harrison Burton looks to the inside of teammate Daniel Hamrick.
What you're hoping to do here is, we just saw earlier that the bottom is better in 3 and 4. So if you can get that position off of turn 2 and put that guy in the outside lane, advantage to the guy on the inside. That's what Harrison was able to do. He ran the second lane to make that move, Marty.
Jeff back in the mix as Justin Allgaier sitting there in the 5th position right behind Harrison Burton and Daniel Hamrick. Here's what he said under the last caution about the handling of his car.
I still don't know where the speed's at. Like, I'm watching these guys, and if I hit my marks perfectly, I'm still just even or a little worse than. I'm not better than. I just don't know where to be better than they are, you know?
Jeff, you know what's funny? This is the man who won here back in March, and he's saying, I can't figure out why those guys are so much faster than me. That just shows how Atlanta changes, not only race to race, but throughout one race.
Yeah, Marty, not only does Atlanta change, when you win the race, everybody goes to work. You set a goal, and everybody knows that they've got to get better. And, Steve, you may think you're good enough and not make enough gains, and other people get better and end up beating you.
Well, not to mention, now it's Atlanta in the summer. We can attest that we were down on the grid before the race. That sun is shining down, track temp is going up, and that mechanical grip is very hard to find when the track gets this warm.
Temperatures inside the cars over 120 degrees. The racetrack was 136 degrees at the start of the race. And abrasive on the tires. We see A.J. Allmendinger all the way up against the wall trying to find speed.
AJ's going to take the momentum from that high side and use it to get back around the 18 car here down the back straightaway. Dillon, you got something on the 16?
Well, it's been interesting to listen to AJ's radio, Junior, just in listening to him discuss with his spotter where everybody else is running and who's making up time where. So AJ's one of those guys that's certainly not afraid to move around on the racetrack and figure out where he needs to go to make his car a little better. They weren't very good or very happy on the top in that last run in the first stage, so came down and made a couple adjustments with the hopes that they were going to be able to run up top better. And it seems like AJ's found something he likes up there, because he stayed up there lap after lap. Of course, he goes to the bottom now as we say that, but he's much happier up top than he was early on in the race.
That's one of the things I think that makes Atlanta even more challenging. Not only we talk about the grip and the slickness of the racetrack, but you'll run high in one end of the track and low in the other, and that takes two different disciplines. You drive the car completely different to run the top, and so you have to really be changing up. Instead of getting into a repetition of doing the same thing at both ends, you got to do two different things, and it's so hard to be patient to get down into the bottom of turn 3 and then know that how you have to sail the car hard into the top of turn 1. It takes a lot of work to figure it out and get it right.
And Allmendinger's doing a good job with it. He's been the fastest car on the racetrack the last 3 or 4 laps.
We see Todd Dillon in the 23 here.
Oh, we got a spin here. Josh Berry has spun the car around over in turn 4.
Right.
Track is getting slow. Unless you got a flat tire.
Cautions come out. The right sides are up.
It's going to be tough for this 31 car. They were one of the few cars that put tires on all the way back at the lap 20 competition yellow. So now they've put 2 sets of tires on. I'm sure that those tires are damaged now. They're going to have to put their 3rd set on. So 101 laps left in the race and tire count dwindling.
Josh Berry driving for Jordan Anderson Racing after starting the season out with Junior Motorsports. Still trying to find, different rides to be able to get him all the way through the season. But a win at Martinsville earlier, as we watch him now spinning there on the apron.
Yeah, he was. That was close. He was already spun around when we got to him. Had trouble, really, probably halfway through the corner. I don't know if he had contact with somebody. Here we go. There he is. That's Atlanta loose.
They're putting 3 rounds of track bar down in the right rear, Jeff, so he was definitely loose.
I want more than that. If I spin out, give me a lot.
Ran Knoxville last night in the truck. He's waiting for this place to tighten up. Unfortunately, Atlanta might feel like dirt, but it's not going to change quite as much.
Yeah, he won a heat there last night at that race going until midnight. So a quick trip back out here to Atlanta for this race. '22, are we going to see Josh Berry back with you, or can you say anything about that?
Oh, we're working on it, man. We think Josh has a ton of talent, and we'd love to have him at Junior Motorsports running full-time next year in Xfinity Series, and I think we're making some great advances on being able to have something to announce here in the future, but still some work to do.
He is an asset to this series. He hasn't been in this series long, but he's a mature driver. He's an older guy. And I think those types of guys are great for the series. That's what this series really, talk about the young guys, but this series is always built on those experienced, hard-nosed racers.
Still 17 to go in stage 2. We'll be back for the restart. Just under 2 weeks away until the Olympics begin. Live from Tokyo on NBC. Teams have been decided. Competition about to get underway. And we're getting ready to restart here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch once again up front. Now he has chosen that inside line.
Remember, these guys are on old tires for this restart, so that's going to be hard to get the traction. Might make it hard for this outside line to come off turn 2 with any decent track position. We'll see how it works.
Yeah, it looks like, Junior, if you can lead, Allmendinger can lead with Kyle Busch. He's got a shot to beat him in the corner. Great job by Allmendinger on the outside right there.
He pushed the limits there of the rules, actually crossing the finish line ahead of Kyle Busch, but he rolled up to the door of Kyle Busch, anticipating him going. That's a veteran move.
And he's going to be able to hang on to second. Noah Gregson and Justin Allgaier, the 9 and the 7, fighting for the 3rd spot right now.
Well, Junior, you got to remember, you can beat the leader to the line anymore. As long as you fire at the same time that he does in the restart zone, anybody can get to the line first. I was shocked that Allmendinger got that good of a restart.
Yeah, it was good. See the Dillon brothers right there. Todd Dillon's worked that 23 car up in the top 10. 3 wide right here off the turn 2. It's going to be tight between there. 19 and the 02, Brett Moffitt. Dillon, what you got on Ty Gitt?
Well, I think for Ty Dillon, he's just excited that he gets a chance to race. Obviously he's not in a full-time role anymore, so just happy to have an opportunity to race in something competitive whenever he gets the chance. A lot of confidence here, too, at Atlanta. Won his first NASCAR race here in the trucks. Conveniently that day also beat Kyle Busch to the line for that victory. So came in here and felt like they were going to have a really good shot. His only other start in this car was his best run of the year, finished 7th. So felt like they had potential to have a really good day here, and good day going for both the Dillon brothers right now as they run 9th and 10th.
A lot of action. You see a great big battle going on right here. Watch Myatt Snyder trying to paint the blue line, just doing all he can, loses it. Sam Mayer drives up to him, makes a little contact with him. Myatt doing a great job, great save over the apron. Everybody behind him, nice job. Look at Austin Cindric. Yeah, y'all keep playing down there. I'm gonna jump on the outside, take some of these spots.
That's the difference between you and me. I was thinking Cindric was saying, nice save, so you didn't come up in front of me and wreck me. But
Burton, do you really think that line's blue?
Yeah, it's green. I'm sorry.
Okay, just making sure.
You know my vision's not very good.
I didn't know if it was a colorblind issue or not, as Sam Mayer just in front of Myatt Snyder. Dave?
And Rick, remember, for the 18-year-old, this is just his 3rd Xfinity Series race. And as you would imagine, there have been some growing pains as he works from the ARCA Menard Series to the Xfinity Series. The first race at Pocono slid through his pit. Hoped he learned from that. And then an accident last week at Road America, really dented his day there. So today, he's just been reporting in. The balance is pretty good. I'm just trying to learn the track and learn the car. And you can imagine, Marty, as he wiggles on that line, it's a tough place to do it here at Atlanta.
In front of him, the reigning series champion, Austin Cindric, who has had a terrific second part of this stage 2 here. In fact, on the restart before this, he restarted 29th and drove to 17th and told the team under the last caution, I'm not going to have a restart like that many more times in my career. Now he's up to 13th, still with a very loose race car. You see him bobbling there on the bottom of the racetrack. He said, to even be in the ball game here, I need to be 1.5 numbers tighter after this next stop.
A lot of experience talking that 22 of Austin Cindric. We were showing Sam Mayer a little bit ago. Junior, how would you like, here's see a battle right here. Austin Dillon trying to take that spot for Brandon Jones, but can you imagine being a rookie, showing up at this racetrack, no practice, just saying, go get you some? I mean, what a difficult situation for those young guys.
Yeah, we, look at what Sam's done coming into the series, and it's easy to get really critical and be pretty hard on the results and the damage. But yeah, I mean, we're not in that situation. We've never been faced with that. We never, we had all kinds of practice, all kinds of opportunity to test and get behind the wheel of a car. And I can't imagine what it's like as a rookie to show up and not get those laps. At a place like this too, Atlanta, being so rough and bumpy, you needed all that practice to get the platform right, get the front of the car right, get the car to go through those bumps as good as possible. They have no time to do that. So if the car's not good through the bumps, that's the way it's going to be the rest of the day. I don't think that there's much the crew chiefs can do to really help that problem. Dillon, What you got on the 16?
Yeah, guys, so we were talking about watching Allmendinger work in the top side. Take a listen to the radio, the discussion that he was having, the opinion he had about running the top and how that does affect the racing tires.
I just can't tell if it's easier or harder on the tire running the top, you know? I'm trying to be, like, I'm trying to be easy up there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to, like, spin the thing off.
As long as you're on the right rear, it's fine. Racetrack's really green right now, and people have been courting right fronts, okay, buddy? Right front is the only thing being hurt on all race cars. Yours was a little bit, but not near what the other cars were.
So what do you think about that, Junior and Jeff? How do you guys know? How can you tell if you're using the tires too much or not enough?
I think you definitely do wear the tires more running the high side. And, you know, as you get further into the race, the tire wear is going to get better. They shouldn't have those cording issues anymore in the race. We're going to run 40 laps to the end of stage 2 on this set of tires, so I think these tires should survive it. Now when you get into stage 3, if we do end up going long into that fuel run, that 50 to 55 lap range, that's unknown territory. I think you have to maybe, like Steve said, start out that first few laps of taking it easy. Don't slide the car, don't turn it sideways, don't race anybody really, really hard for position in those first 5 or 10 laps on the new tire.
Seems like, this sounds crazy, but like one big slide on a new tire, Junior, right? And that's it. You've made it mad, and there's no making it happy again. You've just set that tire in the wrong direction.
I tell you one thing too. I know this is early in the race, but that last restart changed everybody's mindsets. That outside lane worked. It shuffled the front lineup completely up. It put Allgaier, Allmendinger, they both gained spots in that outside lane. That's going to change what drivers think, how they need to approach the rest of this race on restart.
Yeah, that's the most success I've seen at the outside lane here in a few races, as crazy as that is. It just never seems to work.
So to look at the top 10 here, you've got Kyle Busch, A.J. Allmendinger, Noah Gragson, Allgaier, Hamrick, Harrison Burton. Then you've got Brett Moffitt, who's currently running in the 7th position. Ty Dillon in that 23, running in the 8th position. Austin Dillon filling in for Mike Lynette in 9th, and Justin Haley in 10th. Those 3 cars obviously having a good run, 7th through 9th right now.
Yeah, both our motorsport teams in the top 10 with Moffitt and Ty Dillon. So good start of the day for them. Dave.
So far, so good for Noah Gragson. And the reason I say that is because crew chief Dave Ellens told me this morning, I've never had a season like this where so many weird things happen. Remember last week at Road America when he was leading and then lost the lead late? Everybody got by him. He finished 9th. And he told me this morning that was because when they made their engine change, they knocked something off of a seal in the power steering. He lost power steering at the end of the event at Road America. And of course today, didn't make it through tech a couple of times. They will lose their pit pick for next week at New Hampshire. Today, so far, very good. Noah Gragson running 3rd. They can hold it together. Maybe they could get their first win of the season.
They're going to have to go through that car if they want to get their first win of the season, because Kyle Busch has been so strong already. He won stage 1. He's going to win stage 2 now. It's the 6th time that Kyle has swept both stages. I guess the one good thing for Noah Gragson is he's only won 2 of those times when he swept the stage 1 and stage 2.
Yeah, but we go back to the first Atlanta race early this year, and we had Martin Truex Jr. driving this Joe Gibbs Toyota, and he dominated the first 2 stages of the race. Led a lot of laps, ended up losing some positions on pit road and got beat. So race isn't over, but it looks like Kyle Busch right now has the upper hand.
He's won stage 1, he's won stage 2. This could be the last ever race for Kyle Busch, the first ever win. Long time ago for Kyle, looking to make it the last today. You can download the official app of NASCAR and follow the action with free live scoring, in-car cameras, and radio broadcasts. All you have to do is search NASCAR in your app store, download and start a free trial today. As we take a look at the Toyota driver updates, you have to look at Kyle Busch as we check him out inside the cockpit here. 101 career Xfinity Series wins, and he is on a streak right now. He's won the 4 races that he started this year. This is the 5th and final race that he can race because of the NASCAR rules. Look at the numbers, though. 28 different tracks, 17 different crew chiefs.
Well, the question is will he run again? And I believe he will, but he says this is it. Dillon.
A.J. Allmendinger into his box. He said his car is very line sensitive. He needs some entry grips, that he's turning right on corner entry. That's causing the car to get tight from the center off. 4 tires and fuel, and another adjustment for Allmendinger, Dave.
No adjustments for the 9 race car, but the driver wants an ice pack water bottle and a paper towel to wipe his eyes from the sweat, Marty.
Only complaint from Kyle Busch, Dave, is he said I could use a little more front turn at the end of the run, but very happy with it throughout. He's led all but 6 laps today. Let's see if the pit crew can deliver a better stop here. They do indeed. Comes in with the lead, leaves with the lead.
So he'll win the race off of pit road, holding that position, as do the other in the top 3. And a couple of positions gained, but Allgaier loses 3. The 149th Open Championship. Once again, America will begin their day watching the best golfers in the world compete on the rugged shores of the North Sea at Royal St. George's Golf Club in England. The Open Championship, that's next Thursday to Sunday on NBC and Golf. You're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series Credit Karma Money 250. Kyle Busch has won Stage 1 and Stage 2 as we get ready for the start of the final stage. Let's go to Rutt.
Rick, you know, there's a ton of history at this track. We talk about the changes. This is the old pedestrian tunnel when the backstretch was a front stretch, but you can't talk about the history here without talking about the history of movies. Take a look at some of the greatest films that were ever made shot here, like, I don't know, Stroker Race, Who Was Born to Race, Clyde Torkel's Chicken Pit, of course, a great sponsor. Burt Reynolds shot some Smokey and the Bandit here. And last but certainly not least, how about my man, Kenny Rogers in, that's right, Six Pack. What a great trifecta of great films. So many others have been filmed here over the years, guys. So much history here.
Six Pack with Diane Lane.
Yeah. I always think about the Lily Comet kid.
Yeah.
Shaking the dew.
I feel like I'm going to get some more racing homework. I haven't seen any of them.
You haven't seen those either?
None of them.
Oh, my goodness.
Zero.
Come on.
Well, are you kidding?
Burt Reynolds was
I'm a bit ashamed to say it.
What is it with you and racing movies? It took you forever to see Days of Thunder.
I know. I feel like I'm
I'm with you on that one. But Burt Reynolds he was in all those movies, it seemed like, Dave.
Hey guys, the 20 of Harrison Burton came back down pit road, installed some lug nuts on the left front of that race car, didn't want it to be loose. They'll have to pit one more time. At the end of the race, loose lug nuts can cost you money or a suspension. Now, it could have just cost him, maybe the car in the wall. So good thing they did that. But it's going to be tough to pass from here.
Yeah, the 16 of A.J. Allmendinger was speeding on pit road, so he has to go to the back for this restart. We'll see how Hamrick does on the outside this time as the 54 and 18 lineup side by side once again, and the final stage is underway. Three wide again as they go through 1 and 2.
Austin Cindric on that outside, getting a lot of spots, fighting his way back into the contention for this race in that 22 Penske car.
Noah Gragson right on the rear bumper of Kyle Busch.
Kyle's been up front. Nobody's had anything for him. We'll see if Noah Gragson can change that. Kyle's led 81 laps already. Harrison was out front for 3, Noah 2, and A.J. Allmendinger led a lap.
Brett Moffitt back there in 4th. He's got a great run off turn 2.
Tucks in behind Hamrick as Allgaier's behind him, and then Haley in the 11. Kyle's starting to pull away now from Noah Gragson. Tire down on the 90. So we see Ronnie Bassett Jr. bringing that down onto the apron, and we'll take it to pit road.
Yeah, the carcass has come off of that tire hanging on the back of the car right there.
They have to run an inner liner at races longer than a mile, and so that's why he was able to continue on.
Austin Cindric struggling now, trying to move that car forward. Had a great run at the restart, but now seems to be losing a little bit of track position here. Right back here behind him, there you see Todd Dillon. Jeremy Clements having a solid run today. On the outside of Todd down the back straightaway. Austin Dillon follows him by. Up front here for
this.
3rd place, Moffitt continuing to impress in this 0-2 car.
Our motorsports having a good performance here today as Ty Dillon running that other entry in the top 10 as well.
Brett Moffitt's always been good at this racetrack. Finished 8th in a cup race in 2015, driving for Michael Waldrop.
I think it's a smart move to bring Bono Mannion here to oversee the operations for this team this weekend. Bono with so much experience. He's gonna keep things on track, make some smart decisions with this group.
And remember, Tucker Scannulin is the crew chief on record.
Yeah.
So when Brett Moffitt goes out and wins the race, he gets credit for it.
Yeah.
So he would have his first win as a crew chief.
He's not gonna mind that.
No.
Nope. With 72 laps to go, though, Bono, he'll have decisions to make. All of these leaders basically have 2 sets of tires left. You can do this final stage in 1 stop if it was to run green. The big question in my mind, Junior, is, if we start to get a rash of yellows, when's the magic yellow? You want to put your tires on, right? Because if you put yours on, you run 5 laps and another yellow comes out and someone saved them. 5 laps here is a huge advantage.
So Brett Moffitt currently in the top 3 running in that 3rd spot. Kyle Busch up front, Noah Gragson running 2nd. We'll go NASCAR nonstop. you saw it in nonstop. Greg Gaulding, the 23-year-old, getting into the wall, and so the Jimmy Means Racing driver will have to bring it to the attention of his crew. But this is what happened.
Yeah, just running the high side gets away from him. This is a tough deal. This team missed the race last week at Road Atlanta, and the last thing they need is the car to come in contact with the inside wall.
And Junior, I thought Gray did the right thing right here. He's sideways, he's got it all locked up, doesn't spin around. Now he comes off the brakes with the wheels turned to the right, but the car keeps going left. It looked like to me he did the right thing to keep it off the wall, but for some reason it kept going left and he had to lock the brakes back up. See right here, he's doing everything he's supposed to do. And
car owner Jimmy Means was the guest on the Dale Jr. Download this past week on NBCSN.
That thing just wouldn't turn right for him.
It looked like when he realized it wouldn't turn back right, then he got back on the brakes and, you know, then locking the front tires up, it's never going to turn after that.
I will say that it took the inside wall very well. Usually an impact like that, you're going to the garage, but these guys might be able to fix it and get it back out on the track.
Steve, the composite body working well here.
Yeah, for sure. It holds its shape. It's really a question of suspension damage, bumper damage. We're going to see split decision at the front of the field. 54 of Kyle Busch comes to pit road, brings the majority of lead lap cars with him. A few stayed out, though.
Quite a few takers here. Dave.
0-2 of Brett Moffitt is on pit road, giving up third position. And he'll have an extra set of tires, one to be changed and put on here, 4 Goodyear tires, and then 4 Ford later. That is what they'll keep doing on the 0-2 for Moffitt.
Dave,
and there's the 18 of Hamrick on pit road as well, Marty.
My bad, Dave. No hesitation from Chris Gale at all. He said we're within the window here for Kyle Busch to come to pit road. So the 54 led everybody down pit road of those who did come down. 4 fresh Goodyear tires. So his teammate Daniel Hamrick comes, a few other takers. So kind of a split strategy here, Steve. This is going to be a fun little restart to watch.
Yeah, you're going to have tires a little bit deeper in the field. The leaders who stayed out, Noah Gregson being the leader of the race in the 9, his hopes is that we run maybe 10 or 15 laps and we get another yellow, because now he still has 2 sets of tires, so he's just trying to get a little lucky on when to use them.
As we take a look at what's happening tomorrow on NBCSN, see at 1 o'clock Lucas Oil Motocross and Cup Series racing right here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Countdown to green at 3 o'clock, 3:30 Cup Series racing. And again, it's a home race for Chase Elliott, the defending champion of the Cup Series. Actually spent a lot of time with you, Dale Jr., and you guys have a show that's coming up in August. Take a look.
Well, where are we at now?
Oddly enough, this is Elliott Road. This is his first Cup race car.
Thing's probably got like 6 pounds of Bondo in it.
Welcome to the pool room. So
check it out.
This is it.
Do you know that was his first job?
No, he did not say that. Is this top hobby?
Teaching my dad how to do it like last summer, how to surf. Are you ready, dude?
Yeah.
We'll get you drunk on. Chase goes out there and runs a totally different line, runs faster than all of them. I don't say anything. I mean, what do you say?
And I said, Bill, then you keep directing him, and I will support you guys.
You could immediately see his driver craft was really high. I remember being the first one to the car. I didn't even know what to say, just for him to have somebody to vent to.
From Dawsonville, Georgia, Chase Elliott is a NASCAR Cup Series champion.
It was so much fun for me to be able to go and spend some time with Chase and learn about his life. He's so loyal and dedicated to where he's from, and he flies his airplane up to the team meetings in Charlotte. He didn't move to Charlotte like most people would have when given this opportunity to race for Rick Hendrick, and he's so in love with where he's from. And I went to find out why, and it was amazing. What I learned about his first job, though, will surprise a lot of people. And he wouldn't tell me. His mom and dad, his dad told me where his first job was, and it was pretty surprising to learn.
You haven't told me, so I'm going to have to tune in and get the information. Get the
Peacock TV is where you're going to tune in for that. Talking about cool jobs, how about Jesse Little? He had a pretty cool job earlier, didn't he, Dylan?
He sure did, and having a nice afternoon here. He runs in the 12th spot right now in that 78 car. But yeah, cool opportunity for him throughout the first pitch at the Oakland A's Houston Astros game on Tuesday at Minute Maid Park in Houston. He tweeted afterwards that he was more nervous than qualifying at Dover, which the drivers upstairs can indicate. Dover's a pretty high-intensity place, a high-commitment type moment. So he got it to the plate, as you saw there, credited a lot of his intramural softball games that he plays around Charlotte with some practice rounds. So pretty cool opportunity for sure, something he didn't even know was going to happen until he got there.
Nobody will remember if you get it across the plate. Now, if you don't, they will.
Oh, yeah,
It'll be all over the internet.
Yeah. I saw the gun. I think it was 78 miles an hour that he threw there. Dave.
I wish it was 78 down here, Rick. We've talked about how hot it is down here today. For the Bassett brothers, Ronnie driving the car and his brother Dylan, who works on pit lane when he's not behind the wheel, they hang gutters all week. That's a family business, Bassett Gutters and More, and that's how they fund their racing. Well, as that tire came off of Ronnie's car there, I'm not sure who we're seeing here, but Dillon was able to work on that, and these guys have worked together as a team their whole lives, and today Ronnie is trying to take that 90 car back to the lead lap. Didn't get the free pass that time, but hopefully he'll be in position for that later. There's Dillon Bassett, the other driver in the Bassett family. And of course, Ronnie, the old man, well, he was a legend down here in these parts in the late models.
And still having to hang gutters, right? So that they can pay for this racing excursion that the family's doing. So we're getting ready for the restart. Noah Gragson decides he's going to come to pit road.
New tires in the front, old tires in the back.
Crew chief, what was that move? Why did Noah Gragson come off the pit road or come onto pit road there?
Unless he didn't think he was inside his fuel window and he needed all the leads to get there, as we see chaos in the pack. 4 wide back here.
Noah's leaving his pit box now as this field's heading through the middle of turns 3 and 4. Oh my goodness.
Look at that run. 23 of Todd Dillon with a huge run there. As the field working their way into 1 and 2 now, and it looks like they're going to engulf that 9 of Noah Gragson.
It's going to be close. I think Noah might be able to stay out in front, but just by a few car lengths over his teammate Justin Allgaier. I don't know about that strategy. Don't think it's anything I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a strategy or mechanical issue.
They're looking the tires over, guys. They're looking the tires over like he had a right rear down or maybe the right front. Maybe the left rear.
Let's listen in.
That was a
puncture in the left rear.
Good job getting back out in front of. I don't know. I think it's flat. Flat too. At 10-4. I'm 90. I'm 90. Come on.
Sounds to me there that there was conversation about potentially a flat tire. That was Dave Ellens saying he's 90% sure. Then he says, come on. So to your point, Junior, not a strategy call at all. It sounds like riding around under that yellow, he felt something funny with the race car, and they decided to come to pit road because they thought he had a flat tire.
And now he just has to, he's got to remember he has better tires than these guys behind him. Don't run the tires off this race car. These guys are on older tires.
Look at the run here as Allgaier's trying to hold off Hamrick. Hamrick on the outside trying to take the lead away.
Well, you mentioned tire differences. The 18 of Hamrick is the first car on fresh tires. So he has moved his way through these cars that have stayed on the racetrack. Now Hamrick is the leader. As you see on the left-hand side of your screen, last on pit road lap 98. Allgaier, 83. Haley, 83. Kyle Busch back there in 5th, 98. So it's kind of a split with the front of the field and who pitted and who stayed out. It just got even more confusing, Marty, when the 9 came down for that question. We didn't know why he came to pit road.
Yeah, you got to make that call if you feel like a tire's going down. And fortunately for Brandon Jones, they got that caution last time. He, too, had a tire going down. He had a left rear going down. He said it felt like the rear end of the car was literally bobbing back and forth down the straightaways. Good call. Very fortunate on the caution timing. He had a left rear going down as well.
Here's Kyle Busch trying to get by that 23 of Todd Dillon. Dylan, we saw a crew member that was being helped away from the wall. What was going on there?
Well, it was an overheating issue. So we've obviously talked about the conditions these guys behind the wheels are facing driving these race cars, but it's hot down here on pit road too, and these crew guys that are going over the wall are working hard down here, whether it's just getting tires set to make pit stops or actually going over the wall. It's a lot of work down here, and so we had one that just kind of got a little bit hot. The medical team tended to him, got him some ice packs, and I think everything's okay now, but definitely never anything you like to see down here. But again, it's hot for everybody. It's not just hot for these drivers, so everybody's down here working hard.
Dula, the jackman for the 78 of Jesse Little.
And as good of condition as those guys are in, they work so hard to be in great shape. That shows you how physical these conditions are today.
The driver I've been watching all day, sitting in there in that 44 car, Martin's in 16th place. He's been running in the top 20 the whole race, has had great pace. Solid run for this team. Racing around people that
Tommy Joe, the 34-year-old from Mississippi.
Yeah, he rarely is this competitive, so this is a great run for this team.
Daniel Hamrick out front here at Atlanta as we go NASCAR nonstop. Only 50 laps left in the NASCAR Xfinity Series Credit Karma Money. $250 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. We talked earlier about Noah Gragson right before the restart coming to pit road. Dave, what was the situation with that tire?
Yeah, I checked with crew chief Dave Ellens just to make sure that, you know, because sometimes drivers feel things that aren't actually there. This was there. He said a hole in the left rear for that number 9 car. There you see Noah back on track now. And it just adds to the litany of weird things that have happened to this team this year. Again, Ellens told me earlier today, I've never had a season like this. And this is another one coming to green, having to pit with a hole in that left rear tire.
So I'm torn, Junior. Brick, right? It's like a good break, you didn't go green, but a bad break, you lost almost a lap. So could have been worse, but by no means good luck.
He's staying on the lead lap. He was able to get out in front of the field. The problem is that he's running 32nd right now. And if Daniel Hamrick does go by someone to lap them, then Well, he wants to make sure he stays on that lead lap. That's his biggest thing.
He's lost that tire advantage that his teammate Justin Allgaier has with 2 sets in the pits. And he's lost 30 positions on pit road. So not a good thing. Dave.
Hey guys, which car am I talking about? The 18,
whichever one
perhaps.
you want.
Well, how about that one right there? That black and orange Toyota of Daniel Hamrick. What a fantastic day it has been for him. And I can't believe this week, when I was looking through my stats pack, there is a whole page dedicated to drivers that have not won and finished second many times. Daniel Hamrick is that guy in the Xfinity Series. Today, if he can stay ahead of Kyle Busch and everybody else, he'll get his first career victory, and it will happen here at Atlanta, Dillon.
Dave, he might have to stay behind this guy right here, A.J. Allmendinger. Remember, he sped at the end of stage 2 on pit road, went to the back. Here he is. He just drove by Todd Dillon to take the 3rd spot. Talking with A.J. earlier today, said they've done a really good job of maximizing their finishes on ovals. Doesn't feel like they've had enough raw speed, though, since Charlotte. I'd say they've got a pretty fast race car right now as he's driven through the field. Driving mad. He took the blame for that speeding penalty. Crew pumped him up. A.J.'s done his job to get him back in contention, Marty.
Dylan, how about the brave call by Jason Burdett to leave Justin Allgaier on the racetrack? Remember how their race started with a right front problem? They were able to limp home in stage 1, and so far the most further forward of the guys who did not pit at lap 98, sitting in 7th right now. Allgaier, you can see the car a little bit free right there, but doing a decent job hanging on, though. Steve, the longer this run goes on and it stays green, I'm sure Jason Burdett's getting a little bit worried about that, Dave.
Marty, we've talked about what a hot day it is out there today in his first start of the season. Unfortunately, Boston's C.J. McLaughlin has to get out of this race car. He is exhausted, and David Starr, who crashed earlier, is going to get into the 66. They've called for the paramedics here for C.J., and we have caution on the track, guys.
Yeah, Brandon Jones gets the right front into the wall there. You see a lot of damage in the whole right side.
This is a break that Justin Allgaier and anyone who stayed out needed. This is exactly when this advantage is going to come into play for those guys to have those 2 extra sets, because they can come down pit road and put a set on. The rest of the field has to decide if they want to save that final set. So let's see what happened. I'm going to imagine that he tried to clear himself into the fence. He goes. So looked like Ryan Sieg wasn't willing to give him a break there. A 19 car coming across the nose. Wow, interesting. Jones just goes right to sort of get a better arc for the entry, and there's a car there.
He was running in the 10th position when this happened.
Yeah, nothing that Sieg did wrong, just Jones sort of not too aware of where the cars were around him. Maybe getting some information from his spotter that wasn't helpful. That car is ruined. Jones is going to get out and call it a day.
You mentioned the big split in strategies, Junior, with 44 to go. You know, now the pressure is solely on the 18, the 54, and the 16. Do you come take your last set of tires now and hope it's the last caution of the day? If it's not, you are in big trouble. Pit road will remain closed as they figure out what they're going to do with this 19 car. Or do you stay on the racetrack and let Allgaier and those guys come have a tire advantage on you?
Right. I feel like that since Justin and those guys do have that tire advantage and they can come get that, that sort of forced you maybe to have to stay out, right, and save that set so that you aren't caught behind a set.
Well, also the speed that Allgaier had right there gives you a little bit of confidence maybe you can hang on. You better have a good car, though, if you're going to do it.
Another restart coming up. Stay with us. Pit road is open and a few takers up front. Hamrick is leading the field onto pit road. Dillon.
AJ Allmendinger, first pit stall off of turn number 4. Going to put their last set of sticker Goodyears on, add fuel as well. AJ's carved through the field, said we've got a pretty good race car right now. See if they can hold on here over the final 40 laps or so, Dave.
Long debate between Dave Rogers, the crew chief, and Daniel Hamrick, the driver. They both agreed it'd be a hard call. They're going to do it. 4 Goodyear tires, Marty.
The same long debate for Chris Gale and Kyle Busch. Eventually, Kyle Busch is the one who said, let's just pit now. Here with 42 to go, taking their last set of Goodyear tires again. Other teams like Justin Allgaier, they have another set of Goodyear tires left to be able to play with for the rest of this race. Kyle said, chassis-wise, I need nothing. He's got plenty of speed to be able to win this race. Does he have enough tires? That's the question.
That will be the question. And with 42 still to go, we'll be back for the restart.
I always appreciate being close to home.
He can't even see the second place finisher in his rear view mirror.
Atlanta we expect to go run well at. Racing at Atlanta is always exciting.
Ryan Blaney is your victor here today at Atlanta.
How about that, boys? Great job, everybody.
I'm looking forward to going back there and trying to defend our win.
One Georgia-born driver has won here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and that's the father of Chase Elliott. But Chase wanting to join that rank as you see what's happening tomorrow on NBCSN. Again, Lucas Oil Motocross at 1 o'clock. Countdown to green at 3:30. Racing from right here in Atlanta. And Chase Elliott win in his home track. And at 7 o'clock post-race show at NASCAR America post-race. Rutledge.
Rick, names are made here in the Xfinity Series. They're also made right here in this parking lot. And every Thursday night, even tonight, there's a Bandolero race and a Legends car race. Take a look around and see some of these teams that are out here getting ready. If you talk about names that are in the Cup Series, Joey Logano is a perfect one. How about David Reagan, Reed Sorensen? Joey Logano actually had the record at 12 years old for 12 consecutive race wins in a Bandolero car here. But it's going to be some great racing tonight. And so many of these drivers, guys, they dream about being on that big track Saturday afternoon like they're heroes.
You have to wonder what drivers down in that garage today that we'll be watching on the big stage one day. I'm sure there's a few of them.
Maybe Jack, maybe Joel. We saw their names on the windshield of their cars.
What a
Those
great
young
time.
drivers.
What a great time to spend with your family racing. You meet so many good friends. There's Joey Logano. You mean Joey Logano was good even when he was young? I mean, he's
Do we
won the
remember
entire time.
Remember Mark Martin, what he called him? Sliced bread.
Number
the
10.
Greatest thing since sliced bread.
Number 10 is Albert James. That's the stroke race line. Yes.
And of course, Steve wouldn't know it. Stroke race, Steve.
Right over my head, Rick, but
on the list.
I'll do my homework.
It's on the list.
We have a lot of different clans here. So basically at the front of the pack, we have the 9 of Noah Gragson with that unfortunate flat tire. Really had no choice, I don't think, but to stay out and try to get some track position. The 23 of Todd Dillon, he stayed on the racetrack as well to try to save that set of tires. We have a group that has a set of tires, and if you look farther back, we have, Hamrick and Kyle Busch. They put on their last set of tires, and now we see the 7 of Allgaier pulling over.
He ran over the
choose box.
Oh, no. So you can hit the V, but you cannot hit the box.
Oh, yeah.
Solid contact.
Yep.
Boy. Well, that advantage of the extra set of tires, it might not look so good right now.
Just went away.
Well, There's only of the last 12 races, only 2 of those didn't have a caution in the last 40 laps. Let's see what happens.
39 to go. You have Todd Dillon in that 23 on the inside, getting a shove now from the 2 of Myatt Snyder. Daniel Hamrick in the 18 on the outside.
Yeah, those new tires on the outside, and that 18 and 54, they're going to be coming down this back straightaway with a lot of speed, go right by these guys. Look at this mess back here. Myatt Snyder in the middle.
Yeah, after pushing, we saw him giving the shove to Ty Dillon, and now falling all the way back.
Hamrick's taking the lead with Kyle Busch out front in second. 0-2 of Moffitt.
Impressive run also for A.J. Allmendinger. He's running 4th. Ty Dillon trying to stay up here in the top 5. And look at that, Ty sliding up the racetrack. Boy, fresher tires so evident. Austin Cindric in that 22. Up a little higher, Justin Haley in the 11.
Jeremy Clements in the 51, trying to figure out a way around this 9 car. Jeremy's been in the top 10 most of the day. Having a great season in that 51 car. Battle up front, there you see it. Kyle Busch hasn't been able to reclaim the top spot just yet.
Hamrick's been out front for 18 laps up to this point.
Yeah, it's some good pace in that 18 car out front in clean air, so Kyle closes in a little bit using that bottom groove in 3 and 4.
We'll see what Kyle does this time. He tried to top in 1 and 2 the last lap. Let's see what he does this lap. The second lane. Seems to work on newer tires. As the tires get old, it seems like you want to be higher if you're going to run the top.
Steve, what strategy puts Daniel Hamrick in victory lane for the very first time today?
Well, he definitely does not want to see any more yellows. The 18 of Hamrick, the 54 of Kyle Busch have put on their last fresh set of Goodyear tires. They're not alone. There's a bunch of cars that have done it. So they'll have a little bit of protection even if the yellow comes out. But his best bet right now is 35 green flag laps and somehow hold off his teammate, the 54 of Kyle Busch. You see this 0-2 continuing to have a nice run, fighting with the 16 for 3rd.
Moffitt has it now. Allmendinger still in 4th. Still about 3 car lengths separating the top 2. Dave.
And remember that yellow and black 0-2 of Brett Moffitt. When we show the playoff points, we don't see that car, even though Brett has had great runs for our motorsports. That's because at the beginning of the season, he had declared for the Truck Series. First 6 or so races were run for Truck Series points. They weren't going well. They were going well in the Xfinity Series. So he went to NASCAR and they asked, hey, can we switch to the Xfinity Series? And they said yes. The problem is he's 220-some points out coming into this race because he didn't start the season in this series. A win and a top 20 would kick him into the playoffs, Dylan.
And Dave right behind him there battling with Brett Moffitt for that 3rd spot is A.J. Allmendinger. They just told A.J., hey, we got to go. We got to get around the 0-2 here so these guys behind us don't catch us. So trying to take advantage of those tires and capitalize on them while they're fresh. You see the battle for 3rd here with Allmendinger down low.
Trying to use the fresh Goodyears to make the pass, but still not able to complete it now through 3 and 4. We'll see if that low line will pay off.
Oh, he's really loose. That eats those tires up. You can see the back of that 16 car sliding around on the bottom of the racetrack. Still a long way to go in this race. 32 laps is forever, Steve.
It's a long way. Your car's going to continue to change as these tires wear, and you're going to have to search. You just can't be stuck to one lane. I think the 16's going to clear him, but I don't know if he'll stay there.
Crossover move by Moffitt. We'll see if it works. Moffitt back in front.
But he missed the bottom right there. Couldn't connect the left front to that painted line where all the grip is. Slides up the racetrack, and AJ is able to run the bottom, keeping that left front down there on that paint. There's a little extra grip on top of the paint. A little green line right there, and the driver tries his best to get there, stay on it, not let the car slide off of it. It's very rough and bumpy on both ends of the track, and that tries to throw you up the racetrack.
Another run here for Moffitt. We'll see if he looks to the inside going into 3. He's going to stay up high.
Moffitt's been committed to that top lane pretty much all day. Doesn't seem to hurt his car as far as long run speed running in the top.
Well, you mentioned running the top. The 54 of Kyle Busch has really worked this second lane right here. You're going to see the 18 go to the bottom. The 54 run a little bit higher right here. Picks up the gas nice and early. Doesn't gain much in the middle of the corner, but all the way down the backstretch continues to pull up to this rear bumper of the 18. He's had to follow him down here in 3 and 4 each lap. Once again, he goes in. Look at the patience, though, right to the paint. He's going to have a good look at trying to get to the outside of the 18 this time in 1 and 2.
Watch the throttle. Right at the bottom left of the screen. Especially coming off of turn 2. Almost feathering the throttle at the middle of the straightaway there through the dog leg. He'll go to the throttle but not commit fully.
Kyle's car is not good enough right now. You saw it sliding around. Missed his line in 1 and 2. This battle continues back here with Moffitt and Allmendinger.
Yeah, great run by the 02 of Moffitt, trying to get third away.
I was going to ask you, Junior, if you are the, I'm trying to figure out which battle I want to watch. The 18 car, when do you move up in 1 and 2? Even if it's not better for your car, when do you get a little defensive for Kyle Busch and maybe try to take the second lane away?
I'm keeping him in sight right here. Because I think Kyle's a little bit faster, and he's probably just running just fast enough to keep that 18 close. He probably hasn't turned it on just yet.
I don't think Kyle's car is very good right now, though. Every time we've seen it, the back step out of it several times.
Marty, what you got?
Junior, the battle for third on the bottom. So much fun to watch between AJ Allmendinger and that 02 car, but Kyle Busch on the top. Jeff, you're right. Kyle a moment ago said, I don't know that I need much handling-wise. I just feel like I don't have the speed right now to catch the 18. So interesting. Kyle Busch, who has dominated this race right now, having a tough time getting by his teammate Daniel Hamrick.
Well, Steve, you asked if he'd try that top. He's heading up there now to see if he can find some pace. He'll give up a little bit of time entering and through the middle of the corner because you're going the further distance, but you're back to the gas before that guy on the bottom, and you hope that you're able to gain all of that back on corner exit and down the straightaway. There you see it. He's running in, closing in a little bit more down the straightaway.
And what he's doing while he's running this top line, he's learning what works and what doesn't work. Daniel Hamrick on the bottom of the racetrack, he really can't afford to move right now. He's got to be stuck to the bottom.
We're going NASCAR nonstop. 21 laps away from potentially Daniel Hamrick's first ever win in the upper tier of NASCAR. Kyle Busch running in the second spot right now, but he's 0.6 of a second back. Daniel Hamrick has run in the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Cup Series, and has yet to find victory lane, but maybe today's the day. Riding along with Kyle Busch, running in that second spot, his final start in the Xfinity Series.
Guys, we were just watching that 18 of Daniel Hamrick head down the backstretch, and Jeff, he looked like he was looking for the bottom, and the lap car went to the bottom. So he had time to enter the middle, but it was definitely an awkward lane or an awkward line. It looks like it cost the 18 some speed.
And got way up the racetrack on corner exit, but even through all of that, Kyle Busch has not been able to cut into this lead. Kyle's car is not how he needs it to be right now. 20 laps to go. Still, again, I said it before, it's still a long time to go. The car's going to go through a major handling change.
There's a lot of traffic. You see it right there in front of Hamrick. How does he approach that traffic? Is it easy to get through some of these guys? Looks like they're all going to the top to give him that preferred bottom groove that he loves to run. Dave.
And Junior, the voice guiding him through all of this traffic is that of Tony Hirschman, the spotter. Of course, the spotters are the eyes in the sky that get the drivers through the traffic, that tell the drivers what the good lines are, that tell the drivers where the other drivers are good and potentially beating them. Well, today, Tony Hirschman spotting for Daniel Hamrick. He's normally the spotter for Kyle Busch. He's taken him to victory lane many times. So who would know Kyle's moves better than Tony Hirschman? If Kyle gets there, Hirschman will try to keep Hamrick ahead of Busch.
The gap still 0.7 of a second, 18 laps to go from Atlanta. Allmendinger 3.8 seconds back from Hamrick. Moffitt running up there in fourth. Austin Dillon filling in for Michael Annett in the 5th position. Pretty impressive when he found out he was going to get in this race, probably 20 minutes before he fired the engine. That's pretty impressive from what we've seen out of Austin Dillon. And also impressive, Allgaier is up to 9th already, Marty.
Restarted.
Oh, and a caution's going to come out here. Carson Ware gets spun around.
All right, see if you can get it running.
You see the smoke, but that caution now for a restart. Does anybody have tires?
Oh, yes, I know the answer. The answer is yes. The question is there enough time? I believe there is with 17 laps to go to put them on and use them to your advantage. Unfortunately for the 18 of Daniel Hamrick and the 54 of Kyle Busch, they do not have any fresh tires. Dave.
Well, now they're talking about perhaps bringing the 18 down for scuffs, but a couple of drivers that do have one fresh set of Goodyear tires. The 51 of Jeremy Clements, he currently runs 10th, and also the 9 of Noah Gragson running 15th.
So the scuffs right here, I would assume, these aren't like for practice. Remember, no practice has taken place. These are tires that were run earlier in the race. I assume it was probably, you know, what they run, about a 15 or 20 lap run earlier in the day. So these are, say, 20 lap tires. They're cooler. They're a little, I won't say fresher, but at least cooler, so they should fire off better.
They should, but the other thing about that too is if nobody else pits, right, and only the guys with tires, they're going to line up around 20th to 22nd. Now, if everybody comes to pit road, those guys don't lose the track position, right?
Yeah, great point.
Yeah, you got Allgaier 9th. If everybody pits for scuffs, he's got a potential to line up 9th with 20 lap better tires instead of 20th to 22nd. So be interesting to see how many do take those scuffs.
Don't help his strategy. Right to your point. I mean, make it harder on him.
Yeah. You see Carson Ware keep talking about how slick this racetrack is, how difficult it is, and there the back just comes around. Not able to keep control, and once again, that wall seems like it's a long way away, but
he does
the almost exact same thing we saw earlier.
The instinct to lift off the pedal and that thing's going to turn right is there for both those drivers that we've seen spinning that place today. Here comes some of the field pitting. Well, all of them's coming down to pit road to get some tires. Dillon.
So A.J. Allmendinger, they do not have any sets of stickers, but they do have a set of scuffs that the team said are better than the ones he's got on the car. A.J.'s gotten really, really free. That's been his latest report. No rear grip right now behind the wheel of that 16 car. We'll see what they can do here over the final 15 or so, Dave.
Same story for Daniel Hamrick, middle of your screen. Use Goodyear tires. Boy, he could really use a fast pit stop from the crew here, Marty.
Kyle Busch said no-brainer to him. He said those scuffs are colder. That's what we want to put on. They are 10-lap scuff tires going on for Kyle Busch. Meanwhile, Dave, you mentioned some of those cars earlier that have fresh Goodyear tires. All the guys in the back, Justin Allgaier among them, will start on brand new sticker Goodyear tires.
Yes. Look at the race off pit road. Hamrick able to outduel Kyle Busch. Allmendinger also holding position.
Justin Allgaier with those new tires is going to come out 7th. And he'll try not to hit the choose cone this time.
Yeah, that was. So I'm kind of going through our notes to see how close it was off the end of pit lane. Because there are a bunch of cars, we've talked about Allgaier. We know the 7 for sure had sticker tires. Now remember, all these guys changed tires. Some put on used, cool tires. The 11 of Justin Haley right in front of the 7, according to my notes up here, I believe he also put on brand new sticker tires. So it's not just the 7. Dillon, there are other teams down there that saved a set of tires.
And the 11, you're right, Steve. The 11 does have one. So Justin Haley's kind of been quietly just inside the top 10 all day. But we've seen how fast the other Kaulig car is in A.J. Allmendinger. They've got fresh stickers, new tires on. He'll restart here just inside the top 10, I believe, in the 6th spot.
So there's a lot of different strategies and a lot of differing issues. First, we're going to have to get it kind of all sorted out, and they're going to have to choose where they restart. But the 11 of Justin Haley, I think, is on stickers. The 7 of Allgaier. I believe the 9 of Noah Gragson.
Correct.
2 of Myatt Snyder has a fresh set of tires.
Jeremy Clements.
Tommy Joe Martins, who you talked about earlier, also had a fresh set of tires.
So those guys are dying for this race to get restarted, and they don't want to see a caution. They want every lap to be green, every opportunity to just pick off spots, because anytime the caution comes out, that stops that progress and takes laps off the board.
We mentioned the 2 of, there you see the crew chief for Daniel Hamrick right there, Dave Rogers. We mentioned the 2 of Myatt Snyder. He actually has a set of tires, but he stayed on the racetrack. He'll take the wave around. So he has that set, but Jeff, with only 14 laps to go, he's going to have to get a real quick yellow to get those tires put on and try to use them.
He caught a really bad break right when that caution came out. Jesse Little beat him by just about 2 car lengths to be the first car lap down, so Jesse Little got the free pass. Now that put this team, the 2 car, in position where they had to stay on the racetrack to get a lap back like this, so he's not able to put his tires on, so he's going to need another caution to take advantage of those tires.
So we're going to see the pace car move to the left. There you go. We're going to wave around the cars that are on the tail end of the lap. So they're going to go. That'll put the now leader of the race right here behind the pace car. I believe that's the 47, Kyle Weatherman will be the leader. So now it's choose time. We'll see what the 47 chooses. We're going to have a mixed field at the front of not only tires, but experience and speed.
Riley Herbst got hit with too fast on pit road, so penalty for him.
And I think that they waved off. Yeah. The lights are still on the pace car. I was thinking a lot of guys are hitting the choose cone, but it's because we're going to run one more lap. To your point, though, Junior, now these guys with new tires are like, man.
They're like, oh no, why? Why didn't we get the one to go there? Because they're dying. You know, they think they're going to need all the laps, right? And if one lap clicks off the board under yellow, that's one less opportunity to try to make up a position or drive up to the front. So we saw Allgaier hang on pretty well on 15-lap tires against the rest of the field. So, I mean, this isn't a cakewalk for Justin and those guys to drive up there and pass Hamrick. Hamrick gets in some clean air, he can drive away and absolutely still win this race.
But it's going to all start with picking the right lane, and then we've seen it, right? We've seen the outside lane not work, and then we saw the outside lane, a couple guys have made really good attempts, as you called it earlier, right? Kind of timing it, guessing when that leader's going to go, kind of time it, and at least accelerate with him out of the zone.
And they got a guy starting out front, Weatherman, who they haven't seen him control restarts very often, don't know his tendencies, or doesn't really know exactly what he might do, whether he'll go early in the box, late in the box. So hard to really know exactly how to play it with this particular driver controlling the field.
And he's on those hotter, older tires on top of that, so he's going to have a big wheel spin issue. So let's see what they do. We'll see what Kyle Weatherman, whatever lane he picks, I can promise you Daniel Hamrick's going to pick the opposite. I would suspect that Kyle Busch will go with Hamrick. Yep, there you go. And even Allmendinger went with him.
So the control car, Weatherman chose the top. We've seen that control car usually picking the bottom. So with him now controlling it on the top side, be interesting to see if the low line can get that traction and movement to beat him into turn 1. And what does the 1 car of Austin Dillon do? He's going to have better control and better launch than the 47. Will he have the opportunity to take him 3 wide? We've seen that happen a lot.
Junior, that he came on the radio and asked the team, should I try this? So he's thinking along the same lines as you are.
Yeah, we've seen every restart just about where the outside line ends up going 3 wide or somebody puts somebody 3 wide. So anticipate Austin trying to time it to where he can make that move just as he crosses the start-finish line.
We've just seen so many stack-ups right here on the front stretch as we see the 39 of Ryan C.
No.
Another violation on the choose, hit the box, so he'll give up his position.
So this is something to watch for tomorrow, and hopefully a couple guys are paying attention to this choose line. Choose cone must be difficult to see.
And remember, when we're looking back up to this field, that 11 car in 6, he's the first guy on sticker tires. Everybody in front of him has cold tires on, but they've already been on their race cars.
It'll be 11 laps. Can Daniel Hamrick stay in front of the field for 11 laps? He's on the inside in the orange. 18, Kyle Weatherman on the outside.
See Weatherman trying to get the power down. He's spinning the tires.
Weatherman falling back quick, contact made. Weatherman falling so quickly back. They weren't expecting it. The 20 of Harrison Burton hard into him.
No heavy smoke. It's turned up. No heavy smoke.
Caution has come out again.
This is great for the guys up front. Hamrick, Kyle Busch, AJ Allmendinger on these scuffed tires. This caution is going to eat away laps for those new tires. Those guys like
Jump out of gear. Oh, it's stuck in gear.
Yeah, so he left and was spinning his tires, but then he had problems. So the guys behind him just didn't anticipate it. So here he goes. He didn't get a bad restart considering he's on old tires, and now right here he's just stopped.
Yeah, everybody's shifting to 4th gear, and he's either stuck in 3rd or no drive at all.
I'm trying to see the light blue car in front of Harrison Burton. I think makes contact as well. Oh, yeah, heavy contact. Is that Brandon Brown? I can't quite make out the number, but I think that's Brandon Brown. That'll have playoff implications. The first car below the cut line currently.
You can see Brandon Brown gets to him. He's behind the 22, can't really see him, and then Harrison's behind Brandon and can't really see the 47. That's a big impact on those cars.
Yeah. So they go to work on Brandon Brown. As you mentioned, Steve, the situation with him coming in, he was 13th in points, 33 points behind Jeremy Clements, who's 12th currently in points. There you see the points now, 53 back for Brandon Brown. So a huge hit for this team.
And Jeremy, he's out there in 10th place. He's had a great run all day long, and he's got new tires with the potential to even gain more spots before the end of this race and just have a great points day. Continue to, make that gap wider between him and the rest of those guys.
Back to your earlier point, they're saying track's clear. Give us the one to go. Give me some racing.
So Daniel Hamrick, a couple laps closer now to the possibility of that first win.
So we talked about the 11 of Haley. He was the first guy on sticker tires. Let's see how this restart works out for him. Obviously, really slow. He jumps to the outside. Look at the bottom. That 7 car, Justin Allgaier, the 11 gets stopped. Fortunately for him, that caution happened, or that bleeding was going to even be worse. Haley was going to fall further back. So that loss of track position is going to make winning this race for Justin Haley really difficult, especially because of some of those cars that got by him, like that 7 of Allgaier is a very fast car.
And this is really where, in my mind, the choose kind of originated, right? Because you were in whichever lane you chose to be in. You can't say, well, I was stuck in the top behind the 47, or I wanted to be in the bottom. NASCAR heard that for all these years, and they came up with the idea that we're going to let the drivers decide what lane they start in. Well, we have Daniel Hamrick leading, the guy behind him, Kyle Busch in the 54, trying to go 5 for 5 this season and win all 5 Xfinity Series starts. Let's listen into the driver of the 54.
Down at the carburetor is terrible for restarts. I can't park throttle it very good, and if I start to spin and I back up and then I got to reapply, it sputters.
So that's Kyle talking about the drivability of the engine. Remember, fuel injection in the Cup Series, in the Xfinity Series, still a carburetor. There's a lot of tricks inside those carburetors to get them really smooth on pit road and still accelerate well on the restarts.
Single digits remaining in this one from Atlanta. We'll be back for the restart.
The choose.
Drivers getting ready to decide which lane they want to restart in. And the driver of the 54 trying to make it 5 straight wins in a row. Kyle Busch trying to join a very elite number of drivers who have done it before him.
Elite, I like that.
And here's the choices made.
I like that pick from Allmendinger. He made that work earlier in the race.
It just depends. You know, we saw AJ have that great restart. If he has another great race start, I like what I'm seeing out of Allgaier being up there behind him, because Justin's got the new tires, and Mike can jump to the top of this racetrack in 1 and 2. Just hammer down and see if it sticks.
So we all talk about how hard the outside lane is. We know the rules for the restart zone. You got to let the leader fire, then you got to go. So if you are on the outside at a disadvantage, Junior, what tricks? What are you trying to do to just not light the rear tires up to give yourself the best chance?
I want a rolling start. I want to be back on the quarter panel. We saw AJ do this earlier. He timed it perfectly where he was on the back quarter panel of the lead control car, and he rolled up to that car, and as that car started applying throttle, he already had momentum. So him trying to get traction, that was a little bit easier in that situation for him than to be trying to do it from a dead standstill. If you're just sitting there coasting the same speed as the car beside you, and he goes, when you touch the gas, you're absolutely busting traction.
And Daniel Hamrick, what he has to do is he has to know the rolling speed of his car. How fast does he want to be as he's entering this restart zone so he doesn't get rear wheel spin?
Daniel Hamrick has 9 runner-up finishes.
All right, see him sitting back on this quarter panel. That's what I'd be doing too. And start rolling up on him. There he's rolling up on him, hoping that 18's going to go. Oh, look at that.
Great restart for Allmendinger. Here comes Allgaier as well.
Allgaier's going to look high here.
And a push down for the 54. Contact made. Hamrick slides up, trying to save it. He's into the wall.
Keep going.
Caution comes out again.
Still green.
Contact made. Hamrick trying to save it, but that first win isn't going to happen today.
You saw it,
Kyle Busch said on the radio, guys, that wasn't supposed to happen.
Well, Kyle Busch, you know, we talked about getting a great restart and how important it is. The outside lane doing a really good job. Allmendinger did a great job. Allgaier saying, I want to make it 3 wide. Well, then Kyle Busch tries to push Hamrick, and when he did, it just knocked Hamrick up the racetrack. Now he's along for the ride. Kyle Busch trying to help his teammate. Just too much contact.
AJ makes contact right there, and great save almost by the 18. Justin has to lift, cost him a ton of track position.
And Justin Allgaier thinking, I've got a shot to win this race. Doing
here.
Everything he can. He's going to line up. Probably around 10th. Right there. Just too much.
Bottom 3.
Kind of hits him on corner entry a little bit. We see every week, guys, someone trying to push somebody. No, you know it's effective, but if not done properly, it ends like this. And look at all the spots Justin Allgaier lost in that exchange.
Now we're going to do it all over again with new players at the front, other than Kyle Busch. He's consistent, but
Hamrick has plenty of points, but obviously wanting that win. The restart coming up next. Coming up next, Premier Lacrosse League, the Redwoods versus the Whip Snakes, and then tonight, 8 o'clock, men's basketball. That's right, Nigeria versus the USA. That game taking place in Las Vegas tomorrow. This is what's happening on NBCSN. Again, it'll get kicked off 1 o'clock with Lucas Oil Motocross from Southwick, and then at 3 o'clock, countdown to green for the Cup Series, 3:30 racing. Right here at Atlanta Motor Speedway as they do more work on the 18 of Daniel Hamrick, and drivers getting ready to choose what line they're going to start from.
2 sets of brand new tires, well, reasonably new tires, take the outside lane with the 10 and the 11. The 0-2 of Moffitt follows Kyle Busch in the bottom lane. Guys, I think we talk about the 0-2 of Moffitt, our motorsports. And remember, he's a Truck Series champion. I mean, he is a winner. He is a champion in one of the Premier 3 series, and here he is lining up in the front 2 rows. On the outside lane, though, we have the 10 and the 11, 2 Colic cars, both with sticker tires under the last opportunity to put tires on. Let's listen into the 10.
We want to secure a good finish to top 5. I think we take the bottom. You want to go for the win, we take the top. To be green, white checker, you're not going to win from 5th, locked down on the bottom on a green, white checker. So you want to win a race, let's go to the top and try it.
Well, that's an easy choice. I mean, you got to win in the bank. You're in the playoffs. Like, go get this win.
And will we have better traction on that outside line with those newer tires. Will that be just the advantage that Jeb needs to try to take this car and beat this 54 of Kyle Busch?
Moffitt needs a win to make it into the playoffs. Kyle Busch racing for his 5th straight win of the 2021 season, joining 3 drivers, Dale Jr., Ryan Newman, and Mark Martin as the only drivers to do it 5 straight. We're in overtime, presented by Credit One Bank.
Oh, that's a great start for that outside line.
There comes the inside, and Kyle Busch with Moffitt right on his back bumper.
Jeb is right there. Can he stay on that quarter panel for the corner exit here? Kyle Busch takes it away.
Jeb underneath him, though. Jeb's got position on him getting into turn 3.
There was contact made. Jeb Burton got into the bumper, but now look at Kyle Busch trying to rocket ahead. When they come out, they'll have 1 lap to go. One more time around. Kyle Busch looking for his 102nd win in the Xfinity Series. He mentioned when he got to 100, he was going to retire. That was a year ago. He got to win 100. He had 2 more races on the schedule. Road America was 101, and Atlanta is going to be 102 for Kyle Busch.
Way to go. As you guys are
Kyle Busch wins his last 5 starts in the Xfinity Series. It looked like Jeb Burton had a chance when they were coming out of 2.
Well, you saw the pace of this.
right, Gil. Appreciate it, dude.
You saw the pace of this car right here was too much for the rest of the field. And I felt pretty good even with 10 or 15 laps to go. If one of these Gibbs cars got clear in the lead that they could win this race, they have the pace to do it. Good job by those guys to come down and put on those cooler scuffs.
He tweeted earlier that this would be the last for Kyle Busch. One of the most polarizing drivers in the history of NASCAR. Kyle Busch will go to grab the checkered flag. Marty, you're down there with him.
Kind of soaking in the moment, Rick. And I have a feeling a bow is coming up for Kyle Busch to the race fans. Fireworks going off here at Atlanta. Win number 102. He wins all 5 Xfinity races this year. I think he wants to make eye-to-eye contact with the fans. As usual, Kyle Busch, some boos and some cheers. There you go, Kyle. All right, well, congratulations. 102. I want to know about the restart with your teammate Daniel Hamrick there.
Yeah, obviously, you know, I meant to push him. I wanted to hit him. I just wanted to hit him forward and straight, but, you know, it turned him sideways a little bit, and then I think he got more help on his right side. But, you know, it's just trying to help a teammate there, and that's why I restarted behind him, you know. But overall, just great day for, you know, our 54 car, but the 18 was better and deserved this win. So I'm sorry to Daniel and those guys. I hate it that all that transpired, but it's restarts at Atlanta, I guess. I mean, same thing happened with Kurt and Hamlin here in the springtime, you know, so it's just a product of it sometimes, but you hate it when it does happen, and that's why this win's a little more somber than some others that have been, because, you know, you don't take solace in having a win like that, but a win's a win. I got to do an interview with you anyways, you know, I can't just go elsewhere, but you know, say thanks to Extra. You know, really appreciate Wrigley's Extra Gum being on board, and we just wanted to go out and get a little bit more extra on the win scale there. But not in that fashion. But overall, thanks to Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota, Xfinity, Nationwide, Busch Beer for the series and everything that they've done over the years. And it's been awesome to run here and ride here. Certainly wish there was better circumstances to go out on, but hey, that's racing.
Is that indeed the last ride for you in the Xfinity Series, Kyle?
Yeah, as far as I know, as far as what it's going to happen right now, yeah, it's never say never, but this is it.
All right, Kyle Busch winning in what he says will be his final Xfinity Series start. One more bow for the fans, Rick. It's the final curtain call for Kyle Busch in the Xfinity Series.
And what an Xfinity Series career it has been for him. If that's it, if that's the last time we see Kyle Busch behind the wheel of an Xfinity car, he's the best ever. 102 wins. For more NASCAR coverage and more interviews, they're available on NBCSports.com. You can join us tomorrow on NBCSN for Cup Series racing right here at Atlanta. That coverage beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern. What a day it was for Kyle Busch. Started up front, worked his way back up front, led the most laps at 97 of them, and now he's won 102 times. Now it's time for Premier Lacrosse League.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.